Okay, Bramborough back with some Grand Tactician Civil War, our CSA campaign in the 1.06 live. I usually mention this at the end of an episode, but I'm going to do it at the beginning today. If you like what we're doing with this channel, like the content, then leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. But I sure appreciate you watching, regardless. Been going a little while in this campaign. It's October 1861, so we got several episodes posted now. If you're just coming in, brand new to the series, or even brand new to the channel, and you like what you see here, and you'd like to go back and see what has transpired up to this point, there will be a link to the playlist for this episode at the a link to the playlist of this series at the end of this episode. Matter of fact, I might even put a little card link up there at the top right here. So there it is. There's a link to the playlist now, and it'll be at the end of the episode as well. Okay. So the last episode was taken up in a tactical battle where we had been besieged up here at Alexandria. Turn that front line filter off. And the battle itself, you know, it was a tactical battle. You guys saw it. But what was interesting about that is, interesting to me anyway, McDowell came in here, besieged Beauregard, and we accepted the siege. I think we had, I don't remember if we had an option to turn, you know, he came in and made contact, and frankly I don't remember if it went automatically to siege or if we had a choice between tactical battle and siege. I think he just came in and besieged straight up. We brought Johnston up so that we had two corps involved against only McDowell. Now, our corps are smaller, so it was roughly even. I think McDowell had about 23,000, and we had a combined 27 or 28,000. So 2 versus 1, but these are smaller. It was fairly close to even. And what was interesting about that is, if this had been initiated as a tactical battle, right? McClellan's Army of Occupation, it's pretty clear, I think, is well within range to get pulled in as reinforcements. However, McClellan was not involved in that siege, and when we converted it to a tactical battle by assaulting, choosing the assault option, McClellan was not involved. So, I think that that's a useful little thing to keep in mind for situations where you're kind of outnumbered in a region, and you're looking for ways to kind of isolate an enemy corps. Maybe that's one little, you know, kind of tool in the tool bag to make something like that happen. In any case, so that battle occurred. Well, we haven't advanced time yet, so this battle actually on the campaign map hasn't occurred yet. It's on the books as well, it's dated October 13th because that's when the initial siege occurred. I think that the actual day of the battle that we fought in the last episode, I think that'll be more like October 18th or even 19th. All right. Before advancing time on the campaign map, just a couple things I want to talk about. Got a comment, not for the first time, about, hey, you need to take these forts, these Union forts in Confederate territory. In the case of Fort Monroe, I agree with you. I am besieging Fort Monroe. I certainly am. And I'm doing that up here because Fort Monroe actually controls the port of Hampton, which counts as a seaport, not a river port. So if we can get this under our control, it's under our control now because Magruder's army is here right next to it. But if he weren't here, it's actually close enough to the fort that it's a Union port most of the time. That's one reason I'm taking Fort Monroe, but the other is Gosport is our biggest port, and Fort Monroe kind of blocks the entrance to it. Now that does not mean that Fort Monroe blocks Gosport's trade. I have never seen any indication that a fort stops commercial traffic, right? You know, a fort doesn't blockade, if you will. Common sense says it should. Okay, I'm not saying forts don't do anything, and that's fine. I kind of think they ought to look at that mechanic, and a fort that completely whose radius completely covers a channel like this. Yeah. The owner of that fort should get basically the benefit of blockade. Don't even need this this blockading fleet here. Fort Monroe does the job for you. However, I don't think it works that way in the game. I have never seen any indication that it does. So I'm not worried about it from that standpoint. But it does, any naval ships that are built not only at Gosport but also further up here at Rocket's Landing, they can't go through here without getting engaged by the fort. And because they can't go through here, then I can't get them past it reliably, to engage this blockading fleet. I'm taking Fort Monroe so that I can bring my battle squadron out to attack the blockading fleet. That's what's going on here. And also because of Hampton Seaport. Okay. So we don't really have those things going on at Fort Pickens. Again, Fort Pickens should block this channel and completely bottle up Pensacola's trade. However, I see no indication that that is happening. Pensacola is annotated as not blocked, and it pulls in $5.5 million in sales tax and tariffs. So, Fort Monroe isn't messing with that. And as far as blocking naval forces access, I just don't think that's a big deal because we've got a whole bunch of other blockaded or non-blockaded ports in the area. We got Mobile, we got Biloxi, we got New Orleans, we got Apalachicola. There, I worked in a way that I could get to pronounce my favorite port name on the map. So, and it doesn't control any nearby IIPs the way that Fort Monroe does. There's not a little port or whatever in its radius. So, I just don't care about Fort Pickens. I mean, yeah, it's a little blue icon way down in Confederate territory. There's that. But in order to take it, I either have, I have to bring several brigades and some artillery down and sit here and besiege the place for however long it takes to siege it down, and maybe, maybe later, whenever I've kind of got a surplus of troops and I got a few brigades I don't quite know what to do with. Okay, maybe then. At the moment, I'm not really feeling that. So, anyway, that's why I am not doing anything with Fort Pickens, because it doesn't hurt anything. Nor have I done so in past CSA campaigns. And I used to leave Fort Monroe alone too. However, kind of with what I'm doing with the Navy and trade and everything, it's just easier to get rid of this blockade fleet if we already have Fort Monroe. Now the other way we could do it is, build a fleet down here at Fernandina, take care of these, and work up the coast instead of down the coast, and then eventually come at this blockade fleet from the seaward side. We could do that too. But that would take longer, and I want to get this port open, and I want to get possession of Hampton. And then finally, we blockade... Ooh, that's interesting. We blockade the Union coast as well. And if I want to send more blockade fleets up to this area, along New Jersey or up to New England, then obviously Hampton or Gosport is the, natural place to form those and send them up without having to sail past Fort Monroe. And what's interesting up here is the Union has formed a little fleet, and they have put it in raid mode. We might see this Long Island Sound squadron come out and chase our guys away, which is good. That's more than I've seen the Union do before up here. We did this blockade thing in a previous campaign, and they didn't do anything. So at least they have a fleet here visible, and it's in the correct mode for contesting a blockade. So let's see if it actually does so. Meanwhile, our blockade continues up there. And if it does appear that the AI is actually going to do something about blockade up here, then we'll have to rethink the strategy. Because right now, this is just a bunch of schooners. That's it. These are all the leftovers that I didn't really have another job for. There's a few steamers with them. They don't need much of a raid fleet to completely trash this little blockading force. So if that happens, we're going to have to send a stronger force up here to blockade. And that brings me to something else. And to be honest, I don't quite know how to talk about this because I don't know why this is occurring. But two episodes ago, when I was talking about the naval plans for using brigs and all that sort of thing, and I was showing how cheap they were, and I had the impression that somehow that they had brought ship costs down, because the ships that we were looking at, you guys saw the episode, it was two episodes ago, toward the beginning of episode 7, and the costs were just really low on the ships. So I thought, maybe that's a new 1.06 live thing, because I didn't even see that in the beta. Well, no. Those costs were unnaturally low. And I don't know why. But as I was looking at this just now, before I started recording, this is the pattern. For some reason that I don't know why, the port of Biloxi, specifically just Biloxi, as far as I can tell, is providing really, really low ship construction costs right now. Okay? if I select this. Oh, by the way, y'all, in an earlier episode I mentioned, hey, I'm building a whole bunch of gunboats to provide our little kind of river picket line, scouting and denying transport. Yeah, so a bunch of gunboats have built, and I have started to form little one gunboat fleets all up and down the rivers. That's what these are, all along in here. They don't have readiness yet, so they're still sitting at their ports. But if I select Scout Run 17 at New Orleans, New Orleans is it's a river port, but it's a tier 3 port. It is not blockaded, and it's sitting right by this bank for available capital. Okay, so with Scout Run 17 chosen, if I go to build a ship's tender gunboat, it cost $59,000. And I can't build a frigate here because it's a river port. But if I were to build a frigate, it would cost $280,000, which is in line with what I think I've seen before. This is pretty typical. However, if I choose Raid Run 1, which is sitting in Biloxi under the command of Rousseau, and I build a ship here, that gunboat, by the way, there's 2 gunboats. Well, there's actually several different gunboats. There's ironclad gunboats, there's timberclad gunboats, and then there's just plain gunboat. When I say gunboat, I'm usually talking about the ship's tender gunboat, which is the cheapest ship available. That's why I use those for the little scouting fleets. Anyway, this ship's tender gunboat only costs $19,000, and a frigate, if I build it here, is only $68,000. So whatever that works out to be, about I'm building ships in Biloxi for about 25% of what it cost me anywhere else. It's possible maybe that's just a bug, but I don't think it is. I just don't know what's causing that. It's not because of blockade. Both of these ports are unblockaded. It is not because of port tier, because New Orleans is a tier 3 port, whereas Biloxi is a tier 2 port. And it's not because of available capital from proximity to a bank, because the New Orleans port is even closer to the bank than Biloxi is. So maybe it has something to do with availability of, if you build a ship, it requires materials. It requires wood, iron, machine parts, naval artillery. So I guess it's possible that at Biloxi, maybe at the moment, the costs for all these items are way lower than anywhere else because of a local oversupply. But I see no evidence of that when I look at the shortage and oversupply overlay. There is a lot of wood surplus in this area, but it should be just as available to New Orleans as it is to Biloxi. So I don't know why that is occurring. And it's possible it's a bug of some type, and it shouldn't be occurring. But the short, anyway, I've rambled on about that for a little while now, and I guess the short version of that is when you go to build ships, hop around the fleets in your various ports and see if you've got a deal available. Maybe you'll get lucky, as apparently I am at the moment at Biloxi. So maybe my best bet is to just build a whole butt ton of ships at Biloxi before that discount for some reason disappears. I'm not doing. I mean, yeah. If I decide to build ships, I'm going to build them at Biloxi, but I'm not just going to build a whole bunch for no reason. I already built quite a few. We got brigs building. We have sloops of war building, and yeah. Okay, that's enough about naval. Golly, this Pram guy talks about Navy stuff more than anybody else on Grand Tactician. Yeah, there's a reason for that. I just like Navy stuff. Okay, let's see what's going on in the theaters before we advance time. So, decided a couple episodes that I am going to contest the Southwest Missouri Ozarks area, kind of as a forward defense. Is this up here is the best way, the best place to defend Arkansas, rather than fighting in Arkansas. And possibly opens up the possibility, maybe later opens up sending a few units up this way and see what happens if we take Leavenworth and St. Joseph. I'm just curious. To that end, Sterling Price is on his way back up into Missouri to engage Nathaniel Lyon and to take control of the 2 Union-built supply depots in the Ozarks. Okay? So that's happening. The Army of Tennessee under Sidney Johnston has pretty much fulfilled its mission in that Kentucky has seceded and is Confederate. Eventually, I would like to get into a position where we can take Cairo, Illinois. I'm not quite ready to do that because I think that once we take Cairo, Illinois, it's an Illinois city, right? It's a Union town. And that's going to make Cairo kind of the focus of the war, right? We've seen this in other campaigns where some city somewhere becomes like the Stalingrad of the campaign, and there's just battle after battle after battle after battle. And I think Cairo, if we take Cairo, that would happen here. So right now, with the forces I have available, we could take Cairo, but I don't think our military is ready yet for that kind of repeated battle after battle after battle sequence. So I'm holding off on that for now. And my plan for the Army of Tennessee is basically, hey, it's kind of up to the Union now in this theater. He's probably going to want to come back and take Louisville at some point. But other than that, Sidney Johnston is just going to hang out here in north central Kentucky at Louisville through the winter. That'll be his winter quarters, as far as I'm concerned. We'll see what the Union has to say about that. We do have the siege going on at Fort Monroe that I am hoping resolves fairly soon and gets Hampton under our control. Now Hampton will be blockaded pretty heavily, 82%. And Gosport's blockaded by 56%. And I think there's a difference because this Potomac flotilla is up here blockading as well. So I bet that its blockade radius comes down and is cutting right through here. Which means Hampton is getting blockaded by 2 fleets, whereas Gosport is only getting blockaded by 1. Oh, later, once we get this blockade fleet taken care of, it'll be pretty simple to come up and dispose of the Potomac flotilla. And this is probably, and that effort, clearing the Chesapeake Bay and Hampton Roads, is probably the main effort in the east, really, through the winter. Because up here, it's pretty much the same thing. I want to hang on to Alexandria. I want to hang on to Winchester. And once Fort Monroe is taken, Peninsula Army, this is still pretty much in our favor, is going to come right back up to Northern Virginia. And in fact, I'll probably even rename it, because its job on the peninsula will be done by then as well. And it's just going to be, eventually this is going to be the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Corps of the Army of Northern Virginia. So once Fort Monroe is taken, Magruder's force is going to come up to stay. And we'll do what we need to do as events transpire up here, trying to hang on to Alexandria and Winchester if we can. Okay. So with all that, let's get time rolling. Rearguard action from the Army of Northeastern Virginia. He's heading back up to, let's see where he heads back up to. Probably to Harper's Ferry Bridge. No, he headed back to Frederick. And we have just issued more bonds. 25 million. Our debt is up to 290, and we have a BBB credit rating. Not really anything interesting yet for projects. All those available in the tooltip are not projects that I am pursuing at the moment. Second engineers have gotten to wherever I sent them to, which I can't remember where that is. Oh, that's our, that double click on this doesn't work anymore. So here's the question. This engineer unit is only horse artillery. That's it. Because it's only 50, it's only 50. And so the question is, can they build telegraph stations? Right now, they cannot. However, I think that's because of readiness. So let's let Abear come up in readiness. And actually, I kind of thought there would be a telegraph station at Chattanooga. There's not. So this is where we're going to start building our line. If it's close enough. It may not be. Is this within the radius of... just barely within the radius of Decatur. So when we go to build the telegraph, we actually need to build it over here on the west side of Chattanooga. So let's just scooch Abear over here a little bit. Put a telegraph station right around this area. And then we'll just build it right up the valley into the Shenandoah. Appalachian Valley here, and then there's kind of a hump, and it essentially kind of then will continue as the Shenandoah Valley up in here. And then I do still have the plan of kind of letting the Union have West Virginia if they want it. They haven't shown any sign of that yet, but because of that, when Aber gets up to this area, I think I will probably put a fort here, since this is maybe going to eventually be Union territory, if they ever take it. Maybe they won't. Okay. Okay, Union's not doing much here. McClellan's not in good shape over here supply-wise, apparently. He's taking attrition, building a supply depot. Still in our favor, but it's not increasing in our favor. It's 62-38. We are taking more casualties. It's actually kind of going in the wrong direction. $61.39. Condition is coming down on the fort. The more that condition goes down, the more it should flop to our favor. Now, it's possible that Magruder might degrade to the point where he has to retreat back up to Richmond, or maybe just back here to Williamsburg, something like that. If that happens, okay, he'll reconstitute, get his readiness back up, and just come back for try number 2. And he will reconstitute and get back up to readiness faster than that fort condition will come up. So he won't be starting over from ground zero. Okay, we have industrialization 1 done. And I am going to pop directly to well, I might do Militia Act 2 to grow our manpower pool, which is sitting only at 41K, which isn't very much. No, we're at BBB. It has been dropping. Let's go ahead and go into government funding. And the main thing I'm interested to do here, I mean, the extra economic subsidy is certainly helpful. That's the direct effect. But this is going to unlock the tariff act. And I think that's going to do a lot to help. It'll hurt our relations with the Europeans. I don't really care about that. Meanwhile, we've got our hospital building up here. That should help out the casualty situation. Johnson and Beauregard both coming up in readiness. That's good. How are things going with... Is anything happening in this theater? Doesn't look like it. Army of Indiana. 22,000 now. Okay, so that's a real army now. What about the strength of the Army of Mississippi? Same, 17,000. Okay. How's Price doing? Price is almost up to... Price is almost up to Springfield. And apparently doesn't have vision on Lions. I should have put him in scouting mode. I didn't think about that. Historical flavor, no impact on gameplay as far as I know. Pony Express. There's Lions, who is, ooh, he's at 7,000 now, projected to increase to 15,000. I think we better go hit him while he's still 7,000 strong. Yeah. Get that supply depot. Go, price, go. Well, we definitely don't want to siege here because he's got more troops coming. So I think this is going to be a tactical battle. Okay, so that's going to make this a fairly short episode. However, if I fight the battle now and continue, it's going to be a pretty long episode. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this episode here. And then this battle at Springfield, Missouri is going to be the next. However, I'll post them right around the same time. So we'll have a double episode today. So as I said at the beginning of the episode, if you like what we're doing with the channel, you like the content, then leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. But at any rate, thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate it.